Overwatch 2 was released on October 4th, 2022. So at the time of recording, the game has been live and in all of our hands for well over 3 months. And while I can genuinely say I love this game, I think it's quite far from where the community wants it to be. Today I want to dive into and discuss the goods and the bads of Overwatch 2. I want to attempt to analyze how the game holds up compared to its predecessor, mostly through the eyes of gameplay, ranked, and the other game features. No matter how many bells and whistles a game developer tries to throw at you, it all means nothing if there isn't a polished, fun, and well-balanced gameplay experience behind them. And I can confidently say Overwatch 2 has delivered on that, almost. Overwatch 1 had a brutally painful final 2 years where no new heroes were added and double shield metas reigned. I gotta be honest, I abandoned the game in its final years and went on to different things, waiting for the eventual sequel to be released. I left still loving Overwatch, but burnt out of the same gameplay loop. I was ready for something new and fresh. The long wait and step back from the team shooter, I think, gave a lot of us time to digest some other games and breathe off a lot of the frustration with Overwatch's current state. But on May 20th of 2022, Blizzard gave us some great news. Overwatch was coming back with promises of fresh and fast-moving gameplay, mostly through a plan of abandoning the long-standing 2-2-2 format and switching to 5v5, as well as removing a handful of oppressive abilities alongside slight to heavy reworks for many characters and brand new fresh heroes to learn. So here we are now, almost a year after that announcement, and did it work? Well, like I said, almost. The game feels great, it really does. It feels fresh, fast, and fun. The presence of only one tank on the battlefield has opened up the game immensely, and I applaud Blizzard for this change. Having one less big body in front of you means playing for your life has become so much more important. A player who can out-position and out-survive his or her opponent instantly becomes more rewarded through this format, and this has definitely opened up the field for skill to shine. I believe this is great. In my last video, I expressed that any change resulting in skill and smarts being rewarded is good, right? Well, yes, as long as it's not at the expense of a team having any chance to win. Here's what I mean. Within the fast-moving, hectic 5v5 battlefield, there is a critically important 1v1 happening at all times, tank v tank. And the more and more I've played this game, the more I feel how each game's result is dependent on that 1v1 matchup. Your damage players can be out-damaged, your support players can be out-healed, and your team can still have a solid chance of winning. Obviously, it's not ideal, but it's very possible. Many games end with the damage and support numbers being flipped between the winning and losing teams respectfully. But Tank is everything. While only being one of the 5 players per team, they carry a massive load on their backs each and every game. I'd be willing to say 50%. 50% of your team's winning chances find itself hinging on your tank player being either even with or better than the enemy tank. And this has resulted in the most unbalanced games we've ever seen in Overwatch. Tune into one of my streams and you'll see me calling games within the first 2 minutes purely based on the fact that their tank is noticeably better and ours just isn't keeping up. But there's even more nuance to this role than just skill. I don't care how skilled my D.Va one trick is, if the enemy plays Zarya, that matchup is decided. If my tank refuses to switch off Doomfist and the enemy is playing Rhodey, it's almost always over. Playing tank right now is pretty much a glorified game of rock, paper, scissors, often ending in both players picking Orisa since she's the hardest tank to counterpick. And on top of this, Blizzard made it so you retain 30% ult charge upon switching characters, which seems like a great idea, right? Well, picture this. You start the match as Roadhog and you see you have a great matchup against the enemy Winston, resulting in a first fight victory. It's fair to say after the first fight, you would be sitting on roughly 40% ult charge while they might be somewhere around 20 to 30. But here's where things go wrong. That great matchup you had against Winston has now become an uphill battle against Orisa, who still retained all of that ult charge. Your team loses the next fight and now both of you are sitting somewhere around 70 to 80% charge. And you're faced with the decision to either sacrifice this ult charge to swap to a better matchup like Zarya or mirroring with your own Orisa, or try to tough out the bad matchup so you retain your ult charge. The problem is not as much that you both had to switch heroes to find a fair match, but the first fight loser kept all of their ult charge while you couldn't. 30% ult charge retain I think is okay for damage and support players, but on tank where counterpicking is king, this often results in the first fight loser having a permanent step ahead. I do believe 5v5 has resulted in net positive results. I love the fast gameplay and I love the enhanced skill, but Blizzard has a massive hill to climb when it comes to balancing the tank role. I don't think they'll ever be able to update away from this game of tank, paper, scissors, but I think some reworks are definitely needed. which brings me to discussing the new heroes and character rebalancing. And it'd be wrong of me to not immediately discuss the Sojourn in the room. I don't think I need to go too in depth with this, as every Overwatch player, content creator, and viewer has been screaming it for months, but that character is insane. It's wild to me what Blizzard was thinking, giving a hero the tools to excel in every possible situation, when literally not one other character does this, or at least near to the same degree. As Overwatch continues to evolve, I think it's becoming abundantly clear in a game like this, one-shots just don't feel like they belong. Agree or disagree with that statement? Nobody has fun peeking a corner and getting hooked or picked off instantly by Widow, Hanzo, or Sojourn. I'd really like to see them rework all these characters by removing their one-shots and compensating them somewhere else. At the exception of perhaps Widowmaker, as that really is her only value she can provide and her whole identity. Junker Queen and Kiriko have both overall been healthy for the game, and both require a solid amount of skill to play efficiently. While there is certainly a debate to be had regarding Kiriko's cleanse, personally I think overall she's great to play with and against, but I do completely understand the long list of gripes people have. Getting a target down to 1 HP just for them to suddenly be invulnerable to everything and nearly instantly back up to full health definitely has its frustrations. The removal of stuns has further delivered on Blizzard's promise of a more fast-paced, free-moving game, which is great. Although I would like to see Brig get a bit more compensation. Trust me, I don't want to Brig meta, nor does anyone else, but right now the character is borderline unplayable past gold. I think something as simple as adding 25 armor to her health pool would do wonders for her survivability. And Cassidy's sticky grenade, I don't know how many more times I can fly over his head at the speed of light as Lucio or Mercy, and with the simple button push, I'm on critical. Can't believe I'm saying this, but either give the man his stun back or cut the grenade damage from 130 to 100 at most. In its current state, it has to be one of the easiest no skill kill buttons in the game. I could go on about what heroes need more tuning, but honestly, Blizzard has done a fairly good job. Overwatch has what, 36 playable heroes now? And yes, there are quite a handful of problems with the balancing, but you can't deny Blizzard's opening of the field, the reworks that they've done, and the new heroes has overall enhanced the Overwatch experience. Balancing across so many entirely different heroes and platforms will be a never-ending battle, and while it could be better than it is right now, it's never going to be perfect, and we just gotta understand that. Hopefully some matchmaking updates can fix the sheer volume of lopsided tank matchups, because at the exception of those games, I really do think Blizzard has created a much better version of the game we all loved but got tired of, and I trust they will iron out the kinks over time. Let's talk competitive. While the gameplay in Overwatch 2 is better than its predecessor, essentially everything else in the game has taken a step back. The best example of this has to be the new ranked system. Personally, I don't get it. I don't get what was wrong with having your SR visible, plain and simple. Win you go up, lose you go down. This 7 wins, 20 losses system just doesn't work. I understand the vision they were going for, but 10 to 15 or so games just to see your rank go back into the same spot feels so unrewarding. I don't care if the end result will be the same rank whether I can see my SR or not, but I want to see it. I'd way rather see it go up as I win and then decay as I lose. I feel like the majority of us want that constant feedback we're used to. And if you want to flex to different roles, you're averaging 42 ranked games just to see a potential adjustment on each role. That is way too long, and it discourages me and many other players to flex across different roles. If I want to feel like I'm making any progress, I have to commit to one role for 2 to 3 hours. It also doesn't seem to make sense. Countless times I've gone 7-7, 7-6, or even recently 7-4 and D-ranked. And since we aren't given any information as to what the SR increase or decrease was, we're just left in the dark and have to queue up again for another long grind of 7 wins. I'd either like to see Blizzard reduce the 7 wins to 4 or 5 and provide us some more feedback at the rank adjustment screen as to how our games were evaluated, or just put SR back to the way it was. I'd much rather have a rank system similar to Valorant, where you have your divided skill tier, but also see exactly how much you need to gain in order to rank up to the next division. From what I've gathered, Blizzard changed this to reduce rank anxiety, and if you're someone who suffers from this and is more enticed to play the rank system now, let me know. I'd honestly love to hear of someone who's been positively affected by this change, but I have to imagine this was and is an extremely small amount of the player base, and I doubt it's increased the number of players playing ranked. I also feel like the competitive point rewards just seem outdated now, or we need something more to spend them on. I'm sure, millions of Overwatch players that have a gold weapon for, if not every hero, at least every hero I'm gonna play. It'd be great to see Blizzard add some new skins or even just weapon skins or charms to spend those points on, or otherwise I'm gonna continue to just not notice them. Overwatch 2 is still in the early days, so let's hope Blizzard can make some adjustments to these ranked systems. But as of now, I think it's just objectively worse than what it used to be. Finally, I just want to address the other things Overwatch 2 has taken a step back on. What happened to player progression, level badges, or rank being displayed in-game? What happened to players on fire voting for different cards at the end of matches? These all seem like things that didn't need to be removed, but did anyway. I think many of us assumed they just pushed out the game early and at least some, if not all of these features would be reintroduced. But here we are months later and we still haven't seen them. What am I playing Overwatch for if not to grind ranked? At the moment, there's the battle pass and that's it. There's nothing of value to unlock or progress through without spending money. I won't complain about the price of skins as many other players do, since if you do step back and look at other games, it's fairly comparable. But I think we do need something else to show for our time spent in game. However, there is hope. PvE will be rolling out this year, and I have to imagine alongside it there will be rewards for the players. The story mode is definitely something to be excited for, and I'm praying Blizzard does it right. Look, Blizzard was given an extremely difficult task in revitalizing a dead game into something that brings players back and entices new players to join the field. They nailed it on some things, missed it on others, and just straight up downgraded on quite a few. But we are still in the extremely early days of Overwatch 2's life cycle, and I think we have some great things to look forward to. New heroes, new maps, and PvE is just on the horizon. But before I can be too excited, Blizzard needs to address some of the problems with the current state of balancing, the ranked format, and find ways to give players more reason to play this great game. Honestly, I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Leave a comment down below, leave a like, subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.